Gaza hospital horror. We're still on the horrific attack on the hospital in Gaza City. I have with me today Arjun Hardas, the India representative of the American Jewish Committee, and Dr. Manjari Singh, Assistant Professor, Amity Institute of International Studies. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
There's a lot of international outrage at what happened, Arjun, at the hospital in Gaza. What's your take on this? Who's behind this?
Well, the horror should be pretty clear. That's for everybody. There is no question about it. How many civilians have died? This is not a question of semantics. Of the number would be 300, 500. Eventually, the numbers will come out, whatever the final numbers. So nobody should squabble over the numbers. What should be done is find out what caused this in the first place. Now, unfortunately, there are no foreign correspondents left in Gaza City, in Gaza, in the entire strip, not just the city. So the sources are purely Hamas sources, which, to be understood, has to be taken with a pinch of salt. There is even footage from an Arab TV channel which shows a rocket firing which sort of exploded in midair, fired by the Hamas, and which has seen to have been falling on the hospital.
That's what the Israeli government has said.
That's what the Israeli government has said. The Israeli
rocket fell on the
also
hospital.
Said that there were no, at that particular point, there were no air flights going on there, no attacks at that particular time of the flight. That can be easily checked. That's not something that can be hidden. So, but the horror of it cannot be hidden. Now, the people are, at the end of the day, the ordinary people are stuck in the middle of this. Whichever side you can take on that. As horrible it was 11 days ago on the 7th of October, equal horror is there for the civilians who are getting killed.
Do you think that this outrageous attack, I mean, as horrible as it is, it's kind of deflected the entire issue that we were talking about in the last couple of days, which is about the October 7th violence and the possibility of an Israeli ground invasion? The subject seems to have completely switched.
This is expected. This happens in the course of actions. As soon as something else happens, like for example, 27 years ago, approximately in 1996, when Shimon Peres was the prime minister after the assassination of Yitzhak Rabin, there was the Hezbollah had started a sort of an artillery rocket firing, and in return, the Israeli army was firing artillery shells into southern Lebanon. And there was an unfortunate incident which has been evidently now proven that it was an Israeli artillery attack which caused this. There was a shelter where southern Lebanese citizens, ordinary citizens, had taken shelter. And about a direct shell hit that shelter from the Israeli army side, and about 108 civilians were killed in that. Unfortunately, I don't want to sound cynical about this. I mean, having covered all this even during my days as a journalist as well, but casualties of war should not be made into just use the phrase collateral damage. That the humanity cannot be ignored.
Was it ever traced, the origin of that shell, and who fired it and who gave the order for it?
There was a report, but then it's not very clear. But the shelling it's pretty, because the Hezbollah doesn't have artillery guns.
Of course.
And the attack was in daylight. So there was the shelling was being done by the Israelis, no doubt about it. Israelis have admitted possible clause for it. I don't think they've actually ever said that they've done it or anything like that. But the point is, this happens in war. But that's no excuse to let it happen all the time.
Dr. Manjari, the timing of this attack, you're looking at this literally a few hours before President Biden is landing in Israel. I mean, as horrific as it is, no one can condone an attack of this nature. And I think it's been universally condemned. An attack on a hospital is probably the worst form of a terror attack, if you can call it that. But the timing of the attack, I mean, who benefits from this?
Definitely Hamas, if I have to put it very shortly. Because, we are living in a time of non-state actors offensive, right? And what do non-state actors gain out of these, offensives? What they aim for? They aim for more visibility. They may aim for more noises, more attention. And like you said, that the timing is very crucial to keep in mind, because this is the time when Biden is visiting Middle East, right? So the world will be looking at Biden. What is he going to talk about? What is he going to say in terms of whatever has happened in the Gaza hospital, right? So all of this narrative building, it causes narrative building, right? So it helps Hamas in a way to sort of, do whatever it is doing in the in this entire offensive.
Right.
So I think that is what it is. If you have to ask who is gaining out of it, it is certainly Hamas, because why would Israel do something like this
Right.
and not take claim for it? They have clearly said that this is not their bomb, it is not their missile, it is a misfired missile from the Gazan side itself.
Right. In fact,
Right.
we want to play the Israeli ambassador to India's bite on this, where he's strongly denied the fact that Israel had anything to do with this attack. Let's listen in.
Al Ahli hospital was hit by a rocket of the Palestinian Islamic Jihad. From the beginning of the fighting, more than 450 rockets, Palestinian shot rockets, fell inside the Gaza Strip. They tried to hit our children, but on the way, hit their own children. The international poison machine immediately accuses Israel. It's really a pity that many around the world are cooperating with them. But in our technological world, everything is documented, and we have clear-cut evidence that it was a Palestinian Islamic Jihad rocket. The Palestinian terrorists and their allies immediately take out the victim card. After cowardly murdering, abducting, and abusing defenseless Israeli citizens, they are afraid to confront the IDF. They are trying to create international pressure to prevent us from taking action. But nothing will prevent us from making sure that these murderers will not be able to repeat their atrocities. Release the kidnapped. Stop hiding behind your own civilian population. Come out of the tunnels and fight us.
So, Arjun, now, until recently we were talking about October 7th, and now this battle of narratives is unfolded. Do you think the world attention, in fact, has now moved to this horrific attack on the hospital in Gaza?
That's pretty clear. As Dr. Manjari said, the terrorist groups want to bring attention to themselves.
Right.
If you, as a senior journalist yourself, you recall, just on the eve of President Clinton's visit to India,
Yeah.
you had that massacre in Chatti Singhpura,
Right.
in which 26 civilians were killed. Who did it? It was the terrorists again.
Right.
Lashkar, or Jaish-e-Mohammed,
Yeah,
Lashkar,
yeah.
one of them. I don't
To
know.
draw attention to Kashmir.
To Kashmir. So that was the thing, that it's not a safe area. Things are not there.
Right.
So yes, it is a narrative. And now, look, if you go a little more deep into this, why, even if forget about President Biden's visit, if the Israeli Defense Forces deliberately targeted a hospital, they know, they're not stupid, they know that this is going to go badly for them.
Right.
So why would they deliberately do it?
Right.
But on the other hand, there is evidence, there is known evidence from another TV channel's correspondent who reported from Gaza, where there was footage of the Hamas firing rockets in close proximity, rockets which are not firecrackers,
Yes.
firing from the close proximity of schools and hospitals.
Right.
There is enough evidence of that footage of
But
that.
yeah, I mean, Hamas has been known
Hamas
to
has been known to
use
do this.
civilian
So they expect
facilities.
that the Israelis will retaliate
Right.
whenever the rockets were fired from homes and hospitals
Right.
and schools,
Right.
and civilian casualties will happen.
Yeah.
And so that's a beating stick which they have got.
Right.
So I don't, and if you, in answer to your first question, whether they've achieved their aim. Now everybody's going to talk about this. How many people, even among the people who will condemn this, and rightly so,
Yeah.
the number of civilian deaths, rightly so.
Right.
How many of them have actually condemned what has happened on October 7th?
October 7th. Right.
It's just been forgotten.
You think that, Dr. Manjari, this October 7th is now on the back burner, it's probably one of the worst terror attacks of the 21st century. And now you have this hospital attack which has kind of taken away all the attention away from that.
Of course.
Do you think that that's going to make it that much more difficult now for Israel to launch its ground offensive?
Absolutely, because now if you see, it was Hamas's offensive to Israel.
Right.
Right. Now it has changed to Israel-Palestine.
Of victimhood.
Yeah,
it's
of
become
victimhood.
A
Now it is
story
all
of-
about how Palestinians are, being targeted, or how they are. Of course, there is a lot of, chaos happening in Gaza. I mean, there's a lot of displacement happening. Millions of people are being displaced. All of that is happening. That's
Right.
true. But what I'm trying to say here is that, this entire narrative, as Arjun was saying, entire narrative has changed from Hamas's offensive. Somehow we are very short-sighted in our approach, and also probably suffer from, short-term memory loss.
Right.
We forgot what happened on 7th of October.
Right.
So of course there is a, entire change of spectrum in terms of, changing the entire background, entire this thing from Hamas, Israel to now Israel, Palestine. Now everybody is going to talk about how Palestinians are being targeted by Israel.
Right,
That
right.
has become the news now.